Okay, I think I figured it out with the microphone. I don't know what the issue was, but I think I figured it out. It was just one of the little things that I just overlooked. So I'm going to just try to do this again. I'm going to make it nice and quick. If you look at the previous video with no sound, I was going in depth, and I'm going to start at the same place. So the purpose and all intent of this is basically to provide a little bit of insight as to the markets. What I'd like to do is take people's requests for their cryptocurrency projects or whatnot, and be able to put a little bit of technical analysis onto it. Now, the purpose of this is to give those that may have just gotten into the community, don't know much about it, they're just kind of diving in, to give them a little bit of insight as to really what's going on, because it's so noisy. There's so much noise around the space. And a lot of the times when you see that there's a lot of noise and it's hit the mainstream, you see a lot of volatility, you see a lot of movement. There's just a lot of things, and it gets very confusing. And with anything, a lot of the times what you want to do is try to understand as much as you can and to make educated decisions. And I think a very valuable point to that is to be able to understand what's going on utilizing tools. And technical analysis, it's been around for a very long time. There's a lot of books about it, going all the way back into the 1930s and even before that. So it's something that's been around for a very long time, obviously derived from the stock market and things of that nature, but it does apply to cryptocurrency. It takes a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of know-how, and it takes work. It takes work. To give you an idea, I chart daily, and I've been charting for somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 months, maybe a little bit less. But I went very, very deep into it to try to give myself perspective. And that's really what it is, right? On the surface, it looks like everything's going to the moon. On the surface, when you see like a 10% drop, it's dipping and the world is on fire. You know, there's just a lot of things. And all of these things, if you subscribe to that sort of stuff, I mean, it's very exciting, and it's very wild and crazy, and it's going to keep you into the news. You know, it's going to keep you into the noise and all of this stuff. You know, my hope here is that I can at least provide some form of a tool to minimize the amount of noise and to possibly provide insight to a lot of these things to give you tools for the future. Now, full disclaimer, I'm not a financial expert. I'm not a crypto expert. I'm not a whale. Not any of this stuff. I'm not the most greatest technical analysis of all time person. I'm just a regular guy. I'm a VeeFriends holder. I enjoy the community, and I want to be able to see if I can help out. That's really all this is. So what we're looking at here is Ethereum. Ethereum is important because obviously this is the cryptocurrency that buys VeeFriends. And just on a quick level, the reason why, well, we won't get into that. So basically what I'm looking at is only the top, and I'm looking at the bottom. We can see that the top here was somewhere in this range of May 12th. It ended up double tapping. We can see that the bottom from that dump, you know, I'm air quoting, but it is a dump. That dump yesterday brought us to this range. So you can see here that I'm taking it from the top to the bottom. Now, you can easily take the Fibonacci from the bottom to the top, depending on what you're doing. But for this particular, for Ethereum, I'm just going to do it this way. Fibonacci, if you have no idea what Fibonacci is, I suggest do a little bit of research. I'm not going to have a great, I just don't have a really good way of explaining it. You know, at this point in the game where it is for me, it's become kind of intuitive, and you got to kind of just do your own research. The reason why there's these two lines here, this is called the golden pocket. It's a very important and significant area, mainly because we're going to figure out, are we going to go, is that it's a point of, you want to think about support and resistance. So it becomes a major point of support and resistance on a lower time frame because it's going to tell you, are we going to go down? Are we going up? Is it resistance or is it support, right? And looking at this chart here, if we're coming from the top and going toward the bottom, you can see where we tested that area. We can see where we went back up past this 786 area. You can see where we went back down, tested it again. We went back up, trying to make it past the all-time high, ended up getting rejected at this point. And then this is, okay, are we getting support here? No. It dipped under. Are we going back here? No. It became resistance. And then it goes through the golden ratio. This was yesterday. I'm sorry, this is the 15th. And then it goes through the golden pocket area. So now we're playing in this area where that area of support has now become an area of resistance. And this area at this point in time has become support. And now the golden pocket is resistance. Support, resistance, support. Playing around in here again, going back down, didn't hit all the way. But we've been playing around in this area as resistance for such a long time. Now you have something happening. And this is what we saw yesterday. So you can see that it was actually supported on this line as well. And then you can see that it ended up dipping down. We have a point here where this is, again, this is resistance. Now, at this point, this is what I would call local resistance. And I would call this area, or even right here in this area, local support. Now, in the previous video, I don't know exactly what I was saying in there, because a lot of the times I just want to stream this thing. I'm not really good at video editing or anything of that nature. I don't have a lot of skills in this YouTube space. But really, it's just a matter. This is just for the community, quite honestly. What we have up here, what has happened recently, we're going to go kind of drill it in here. So now these candles are 5-minute candles. So you can see here that this was the bounce. This was the bounce off of yesterday's dump. This point, it was riding on this point at the 0.236. And then we're trying to find support here yesterday. We weren't able to find support there. Starts moving down here, clear point of support, starts trying to go up, support again, tries to go up, and then we're kind of dipping down. Now, we didn't dip down all the way back here, and we can actually chart this section a little bit differently as well, but I like to run my Fibonacci on higher time frames. And then what it does is it gives you it gives you perspective on the lower time frames here. So on this 5-minute chart, you can see that we tried to go back down. There was obviously a clear level of support somewhere in this range where it ran back up, resistance, comes back down, beats resistance, comes back down. This is what you would call an SR flip. So basically, this was resistance prior, and now it's become a point of support. So then we're trying to go up, again, not even making it back down into this range. And then it's trying to go up. It ended up breaking through where it broke through yesterday. And now we're trying to find this as support. And then it breaks down again. So we're kind of back into this kind of repeating pattern. What's going on right now is if you were able to put 2 lines on this, which I'm just going to do some quick horizontals. Let's do it this way. So if you were to just throw some quick horizontals on this, what you're looking at is, I'll change the color. So what you're looking at here is that would be local resistance, I would say, or somewhere around there. You know, these aren't perfect. And this would be local support on the majors right here. Now, if you look here, you can see how it tapped and got rejected off of this line. This line, and I don't do it all the time, but this line was basically produced off of this Fibonacci. So you can see from the top, you have a clear line of resistance, a very clear line of resistance. We didn't make it back up to that line of resistance because we would have to get past this 0.05 region. But, you know, for all intents and purposes, I'm going to leave that line there because in my mind and on this chart, what we have is we have a clear area of resistance. We have a somewhat clear area of support. Now, if it breaks through this, who knows what's going to happen? Look, I'm not here to tell you to buy, sell, do anything. I'm just looking at it at a non-emotional point, and hopefully that this can help people. I actually like my dialogue on the first on the first post that I had put on this, but a redo is just fine as well. You can see I posted this on the Discord, the VeeFriends Discord, and this was from before noon Eastern Standard Time. We're going to call that Gary time. And we were trying to find support here. And you can see here that we ended up losing it. So to someone that's not seeing this and looking at this, and they're looking at it in only lower time frames, they're going to call this a dump. This is 100% not a dump. This is just normal activity in the market, in the crypto market, if you can call that normal. And it's just not a dump. But what we have here is we have a clear sign of resistance at the 3,000 range. It's almost to the button, you know, at the 3,000 range. You know, the market has basically established that at this point in time in the timeline, 3,000 is a significant number. And those that are heavily, you know, we have to understand there's whales, there's people that have been in this market for many, many years. And, you know, they look at these things, you know, you got to figure if you have $500,000, a million, whatever millions, if you're a whale, you're going to be interested in technical analysis a little bit, right? So, you know, it's perspective here. Next up, Bitcoin. I'm going to try to run through these quickly because, I mean, you can watch the previous video on, I don't know, double time, and it's probably going to go over the same exact thing that I'm saying right now. I drew all of these because ideally, I'd like to draw these in real time. And I'd like to draw them in real time only because I feel that it gives a little bit more of an honest perspective to, you know, someone that's trying to learn and understand what's going on. And that's really, you know, the plain case of all this. So looking at Bitcoin, we'll put it on the 1 hour. The way that I drew this, again, I did it the same exact way, is let's go from the top and let's go to the bottom. Now we have this isn't really good, this line here. The line I would say on what you would call like a short would be somewhere in this area, something like this, just recent times, because it comes from, you know, we'll call it like May 8th to about here. So everybody knows, you know, obviously Bitcoin, and we'll get into Bitcoin dominance. We can get into total market cap. We can get into alt market cap. We can get into all sorts of things. These are all things that I look at personally myself. But for the purpose of this right now it's really just to provide a little bit of perspective as to what's going on, because again, these things get very, very noisy. And if you don't apply tools and you just go by the herd, and if someone tells you buy, 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 or someone tells you the sky is falling, you know, it gets very, very noisy. If you provide yourself with a little bit of tools and you know, put a little bit of time into it, you know, you're going to improve each time. You know, for me to be able to do this right now, I'm not an expert. I've put some time into it. I've put many, many hours into this. And, you know, I feel that I'm capable enough to at least provide some surface level perspective to anybody that wishes to try to understand this. So what we have here, again, we were talking about the golden pocket. You can see that it was a clear point of resistance, It broke through that resistance and it became support. It became support here. Then now, obviously, we didn't have this point at this area, and you could have drawn a Fibonacci off of here or the previous activity or all of that stuff in the past. You could have drawn all that from the past. But for our, oh boy, what did I do? So for our activity right now is we're really only concerned with, oh boy, it's getting messy. It's getting messy here, guys. Yeah, let me just go to the 1 hour. What we're really only concerned with is how Fibonacci and how the market reacts to the levels. They're just horizontal levels, but the Fibonacci tool itself, again, you're going to have to look into it, but you'll find this in stocks. You'll find this in, you know, I know a lot of people have been talking about Tesla lately. You'll find this in basically anything that has a chart. And you're able to use this on a surface level just to give yourself a little bit of perspective. So you can see here where this area has become support, resistance, it breaks through, it's become support, resistance, gets into this area. Now this is, again, this is a 1 hour thing. So this is going on, in the day. Pops up to this area, gets rejected, tries to move down here. We lose it. You go back up. Now this has become resistance. We have support here, resistance, support, resistance, tries to go back down, goes back up, resistance, support, resistance. I mean, you can see it here. If you screenshot this photo or if you look at anything that I post on the Discord, that's the way to think about these things. And again, this is on, each candle represents 1 hour. And I would call this like a medium time frame, but that's what this is drawn off of. You can see I've only drawn this from here to here, and this is on the downtrend, but you could have clearly done it from, I would say, somewhere in this level where we had a point of resistance that became a point of support. You could have done this all the way to the top. That'll give you data as well. I wish the audio on the first one ended up working, but again, if you have any questions, by all means, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do this at least once a day. I don't want to spend too much time, but I really want to get requests from the Discord, and I would like priority to be VeeFriends holders. I myself, I am a VeeFriend holder. For some reason, I can't get it to pair up. I mean, I've been a Discord user for a while, and for some reason, I can't get it to link up. I'm working on that right now as well. So another fan favorite has been ADA. You can see in the previous video, I drew this. I was actually talking about how and why and all of that stuff. Unfortunately, again, you can see this here. The levels, I would call these the levels. And the levels here, I didn't do it from the top to the bottom because, again, for the majors, like the Bitcoin and Ethereum, and obviously I would consider ADA a major as well, but to give another kind of twirl to it, let's just say we didn't know any of this was going to happen, and that's really where this comes from. So what we have here is we have a clear area of support that was previous resistance, and you see where, it goes up, golden ratio. You can see this on the golden pocket. Reaching up to the golden pocket. These are 1 hour candles. So reaching up, finds this as resistance again. It reaches up. Now again, didn't necessarily get into the pocket. Didn't necessarily get into the pocket. We got into the pocket. We got a clear rejection. Tap it again. Rejected. Back down into this range. This was in late April. And you can see on a lot of charts, you're going to see in late April, there was what I would call like a local bottom. And then from this, and especially with Ethereum, a local bottom, and it ran up. Local bottom, and it ran up. Bitcoin was doing something different because, and we'll get into it, Bitcoin dominance is a thing that I chart as well. If you may or may not know, Bitcoin dominance has been dropping, and there's been a lot of talk of alt season. And, there's just a lot of things going on in that range. We'll get into it. Just let me know. So this is the activity for right now. You can see this is on a 1 hour time frame for ADA. And then we bring it to a 5-minute chart, which brings you what I would call a lower time frame. And it gives you a clearer picture. So this is the bounce where the golden pocket was, definitely validated as a point of support, validated as a point of resistance, bounces up, resistance, bounces up, plays in this line here. Support, all-time high. It breaks the support, previous support. It's trying to get back to the all-time high, breaks the support again, tries to go down, and you can do something like this too, where it's like, let's just say we didn't have this data over here. This would have given you sort of, and the way that you draw these trends, I mean, you could draw trend lines however you want, but the best way to do it is you want to make sure that there is validation. And by validation, I mean, you want to see it tap at least 3 times. That's what they say in the world. But you're looking for some form of validation. You're not trying to come up with your own theories and, you know, you want this thing to go to the moon or whatever it is. You know, you always want to get yourself confluence. If you don't know what confluence is, it's basically you're trying to find parities on lower and higher time frames. You're trying to utilize, you know, there's a lot of indicators. We can get very, very, very confusing, but I'm not trying to get super confusing here. I'm just trying to run down mid-level basics and just trying to give perspective. So you can see here that this was on the way down, where we would call, you know, just kind of a downtrend here. You can see that there's clear areas of resistance at this point. And this was over the course of just the past couple of days from May 16th into today. And these are now 5-minute candles. Where is this going to go? I'm not one to tell you. Do you buy? Do you sell? Do you wait for this? Do you do that? Do you do that? I'm not going to tell you. That's not my job. And quite honestly, it's way too much responsibility. That's it. So Matic is another fan favorite. I wish the audio worked, but you can see this again. Clear area of resistance. I'm sorry, clear area of resistance at this point, breaks through that resistance. It didn't necessarily become a level of support. So this is what I would call, this isn't necessarily, this is just charting. Like, I built this only from right now to give myself perspective for the right now. I didn't do, you know, so for anyone that's like, oh, okay, I'm just kind of back trading or anything to that effect, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't, I'm not back trading. I'm not doing anything. I'm only just trying to, you know, generate something. So what I used from here is just basically clear areas of support. And I used a clear area of resistance. And then obviously yesterday's data. And from here, I went on the up. Oh, geez. So from here, I built this from the 1 hour. I think I built it from the 1 hour, and I built it from this point right here because we were able to see that there. I can actually probably fix this. This isn't really the best. Those aren't the best levels. We'll call it right here on the candle body. So let me get rid of this. We'll call it right here on the candle body. So you can see the candle body here, and then you can see the candle body there as a clear area of candle body, support. I'm sorry, resistance, support. And I think I did candle bodies. You know what? I actually built this from the day. Oh boy, this is getting confusing. I'm just going to reset it. I'm just going to reset the entire thing. We're going to build this up from a 4 hour. What we have here is candle body. And we have a lot of candle bodies here in this area. We also have a candle body here from where it was resistance. So I'm going to kind of just go halfway just for ha-has. But you can see a clear area there. And we're going to draw this from the left to the right. And we're going to put it from candle body to candle body. I'm going to do the candle body on the most recent, which support here. And then we could drill in. Okay, so the idea behind all of this, again, we were talking about golden pocket and everything of that nature. These levels may or may not be perfect. Like I said, you just saw how I built them. I built them differently from the previous thing, but again, with no sound. But again, we're looking at confluence. What I see here is I see that it was a previous, this golden ratio, this golden pocket area is very clear resistance. This area is very clear support in this time frame. Broke it, it became support. This became resistance. This became support. Ran up to the top. On the way down, it's getting rejected from previous all-time highs. Tested the golden ratio at this point. Broke all the way down past this region. And the reason why, I got to tell you, is because you have to understand this to this, you're looking at a 70% range. So yes, I mean, look, I'm not going to talk about fundamentals on this project. I'm not going to do anything of that. I don't want to put any of my own things. But again, if you like this, if you have any sort of product or project that you would like some mid-level analysis on, by all means, let me know. But, I hope this helps you. See ya.